I was thinking about contemplating, really more than thinking, women of great power and grace. Women of power and grace. When you say that, my whole head tingles when I think about it, because does it conjure up an image of a human that you've either met in person or been inspired by, a woman of power and grace? Who comes to your mind? Just shout them out, or your heart. Your heart's mine.
Well, Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou?
She just mentioned that.
Anyone else?
Erika.
Erika Luckett. Yeah, definitely.
Mine was Carissa Holmes.
Carissa Holmes. Yeah. I mean, aside from me, I'm just kidding. Like Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, like going back through time, Mother Teresa, and these modern day mystics, of which, you know, we're teaching this Essential Mystics class this month too, and we're diving deep into the notion that we're all mystics, but it's getting out of the dinghy of dogma, as I say, like the dinghy on the sea of dogma. Get out of that boat and step into the ocean. Just allow yourself to drown in it. Be right with the ocean of consciousness, because in it, there is a pearl of wisdom for you, which is your essential mystic, the thing you essentially came here to experience. And it's not just one thing. I think like SoulCall Global, our whole passion is each one of us is a mystic. Each one of us is a master. Each one of us, you are the master of your own life, period. Whether it's how you want it to turn out or not. Once we learn that we're co-creating it, consciously or unconsciously, we're co-creating something with infinite intelligence that will give you whatever you want or whatever you continue to vibrationally put into the field. You might not even have it fully formed. Sometimes, do you ever have this experience in your life where you can see the thing, how it's complete, but you don't know how you're going to get there? Do you ever do that? And sometimes it can be as deceptive. It looks like it's right there, kind of like when you're standing on the rim of the Grand Canyon and you think you're seeing across. You think you have an idea of how far that is. You don't. It's mind-blowing. You think you're seeing it, you're looking down. I had I almost said a crazy friend, but yeah, I still would call her that. She was the one that couldn't just stand on the edge and look. She had to go down into, and they tell you, don't. So we're going back and forth. She has the wisdom of the experience of kind of just going down the side of the cliff a little bit. I have the wisdom of, give me the keys before you do that. But the point was, it looked like there were little shrubs sticking out on the side of the canyon. They're trees, they're huge. So the whole depth perception is off. So I contemplated that for a minute while seated on the ridge, like the edge of the canyon. What is depth perception? What does that even mean? What's that mean? And to each one of us, it'll be slightly a variation on the theme of depth perception. There's a definition I could find on Merriam-Webster. I love her. She's so smart. But that's not what we're after, is it? I don't want somebody to define it for me. I want to experience it for myself. Are you like that? I was listening to one of those oldies rock stations the other day, and it was Billy Joel. It's now oldies, which is still blowing my mind. But he was talking about, there's a new band in town, but you can't get the sound from a story in a magazine. Ain't that your average teen? You remember when you had to be there to get it? You didn't want to read about it. You just needed to be there. What do you feel like you need to be there for now?
Ooh.
And it's not necessarily like fear of missing out. It's not the FOMO sense of urgency we had as a child. Hopefully, our experiences have changed us a little bit, right? We don't want to get pushed and pulled around like advertisers will have you think, oh, yeah. But sometimes you really do want to be there. Like, what do you want to be there for? What do you want to be most present with? And that's the question we're going to explore through the month of wisdom. What do you want to be most present with? Is it a what? Is it a who? You know, like the Grinch is a who. Well, he's a who, that's a what? Well, like,
Yeah.
you know, from a quote from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, everybody's looking around like, Did everyone understand what she just said?
Yeah.
It's thinking more about contemplating things than defining things, allowing them to expand and be what they are. So it's kind of like if you had those little, I don't know, bathtub toys kids get that are like tiny and you throw them in the thing of water and they, where do you want to put your consciousness? Where do you want to blow up like that in your life? What do you want to play with to bring it to fruition in a bigger way? Anybody want to share something that's right on the edge? Not yet? You're afraid?
Writing songs.
Writing songs, okay. What is it about the act of writing songs? It makes you realize where they're coming from, what they are, what they're not, where they're coming from. It's like the whole, did you say flying? Oh, I thought you
I
said
said flying.
flying.
I said flying.
You want to fly?
It
Excellent.
does fly.
Do you have a pilot's license yet?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, let's see you flying. Is there any reason why you can't fly?
No.
I mean, I can't fly. No, well then,
Mhm.
off you go. Into the wild blue yonder. We were just talking about that this morning. Yeah, what is holding you back then? Each of us, like, is there something really holding you back? Or is it just you giving more attention to the obstacle? You know, I had an experience yesterday. You know, I was talking to some friends who are experiencing grief, and sometimes we have these conversations about grief. And there's so much wisdom in grief, so much. And we each get something. You bring up Erika Luckett. I've been listening to our music and her music, and the wisdom in some of the things, we didn't even know where some of that came from. Of course, we know where it ultimately came from. But the way it came together was just magical, mystical, right? Or was it? You know, but just going through this experiencing and allowing myself to feel it. I don't want to feel it. Do you ever have that? I don't want to go through that to get to this, but I must. So that's like the courageous warrior of consciousness, is to be able to do what you can in a day and know when you've had enough, right? And then just retreat. They often retreat, contemplate, and pick it up again tomorrow and start all over again, or even later. So I'm playing with these feelings. Is it a feeling? Is it an experience? What is it? What is this? I don't have an answer like Maya Angelou. I just have a song. So I wrote a whole bunch of songs about it yesterday. It was the easiest way for me to experience the wisdom that was being presented to me. So the invitation for you is to allow yourself to find a way to experience the wisdom that is coming for you. Like for flying, there's going to be so much wisdom gleaned from being in the air and what's coming at you and your devices and your how you interact with these things, and writing music, how you interact with your instrument, picking up the instrument and learning new songs, or trying to remember ones I haven't played in a long time. But I allowed myself to sit with the guitar, sit at the piano. It made the challenge more palatable because it was through the lens of the heart of something that I love. All right. So music for me always makes it doable. If I can sing about it, I can survive. That's me. Or just silence, meditation. And sometimes that's where I get to, even with music. I'll have to stop. And I'm just telling you what it is for me. But the invitation is to contemplate what it is for you that helps you integrate more fully the experiences coming into your life, so that you have the wisdom of knowing, I like this, I don't like that. Or this is for me, this I just don't resonate with this. And getting into that super subtle, barely audible, barely vibrating, barely resonating, that you can almost not even catch it. So subtle. Be that still inside that you'll catch any tiny little whisper of something that's there for you. That's what the invitation is into wisdom. When we think we know, we don't. That means it's already, you surrounded it by other ideas and thoughts that you've had already. And sometimes that's how we do it. We can scoop it up, but then bring it inside. Sometimes when we do movement with songs, we'll scoop in the energy, like what Helen, you scoop it in the chi and you bring it inside. Why do you think you do that? I'm asking you really what you think now. It's not just because it's, oh yeah, we can all imagine the light coming in, but why are we bringing it in? So we can assimilate the lesson, assimilate the light, allow it to be incorporated into our humanity so that we become more full of it. Full of light, I mean.
Yeah.
We all know people who are let me clarify. Getting the wrong idea. But that's it. So women of power and grace. And I love that those two words go together because the people who are most poised seem to be the most powerful because they're so present. They're unmoving. Do you ever know somebody, you just stand in front of them, they don't even say anything, and you just start like, you start talking,
Yes.
fill in space,
Yeah.
and they don't want to say anything. I remember a long time ago, there was a gentleman of power and grace. It was Brother Anandamoy, one of the monks from Self-Realization Fellowship Order. And I had gone to a world convocation. And if you can imagine the grand ballroom of the Biltmore and the subterranean ballroom they had there as well, and the Westin Bonaventure Hotel, 10,000 people meditating in two huge spaces in silence. I mean, amazing. But Brother Anandamoy, so wise because he's been practicing these teachings for such a long time, meditation. He was just, and all I could think of was, I was living in Pittsburgh at the time and they all lived in California. It's like, oh my gosh, I would love to just meet him. I would love to meet Brother Anandamoy. That was I wanted, right? That was the thing I wanted. I didn't think past that. I don't even know why. I just wanted to meet him. And 10,000 people in two different hotels, at the end of like a block and a half. And between programs, I was going to run up to my room and I don't know what I was going to do, if I get coffee or something and just, contemplate. And I jumped into an elevator that was closing and I jumped in like that. And Brother Anandamoy is the only other person in the elevator.
Oh, wow.
And I just was like, I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there. I had no plan. And he just stood there and looked at me. And I just stood there and looked at him. I could feel all these things getting reordered inside of my body, like my heart, but I just felt some kind of, And he didn't say a word, and I didn't say a word, and he got out of the elevator, and I was like, why didn't you at least say, hi, Brother? Or just, I couldn't say anything. And I realized that would have been me pushing something into he doesn't need for me to say hello if I offer him my presence. You see what I mean? That was my lesson in poise, presence, grace. Sometimes you don't need to fill the space with a word. You just need to fill it with your grace, with your love. You don't have to say anything. Teaching grief support. So I got certified as a grief counselor. I don't say much. I try not to say anything because I don't know what your experience is. I just know there's so much love here for you. That's all I want to say. And I don't say it. I just listen. So think about, there's a time for offering counseling. And there's a time for just offering your presence. Just come and sit and be with people. That's wisdom, is when you're not trying to match wits with someone and try to say, I do life coaching too. That's a whole different thing. We try to get you to think, contemplate for yourself how to move from A to B to C to D to come to a completion around a thing you very much want to materialize. That's a different thing, but then you've got the wisdom of the experience of it. And then you can do it yourself, right? Teach a person to fish instead of just teach them how to do it and then watch them shine or watch them come up with their own way. Speaking of, when Erika learning how to play the guitar, she played it differently than anybody had ever seen before, incorporating all these different things in. Great, we would tease because I would play like a nun. I learned to play when I was 8 years old from the nuns in the Catholic Church. So I was like expert at nun strum. And so if you needed that, you got to call me. I got you covered on the nun strum, shout from the highest mountain. The great amen, the lilies of the field. Amen. I'm your girl. But knowing what your thing is, that I didn't have the passion around it to pursue it that deeply. I can cover songs, I can cover the piano, but I love to sing. I can tell you every little nuance about how that moves through me. And then there are things I have no idea how it happens. I just know I need to get to a place. And once I get there, it like pulls me. Kind of like if you wanted to, reminds me right now, I'm seeing an image of being in British Columbia. And if you want to get to Quadra Island, you got to take the Nanaimo ferry. All you have to do is get there and get on the ferry and it'll take you. I don't know how many different maneuvers or things have to happen to make that ferry start and go that way. I was listening to something the other day. I was talking about the miracle of flying. Actually, it was on NPR. And this gentleman was saying, people are complaining about how uncomfortable it is and the seat's too small. And then he said, but if you could realize that it takes about 1,200 different things have to happen, like in perfect timing and measure, just for that little cart to push the plane back away from the gate. It's a miracle. That's not even the best of it. He said, but if you can just contemplate that for a minute. So think about these things in your life. For these experiences to come into your life, the infinite is orchestrating trillions micro adjustments in your life so that you run into this person at this time, or you show up at that place right when the other person is going to show up, or you show up when there's no one there and there's something there that's just for you. How is it all coming together? We don't need to know all of those things. We just need to know that if you get yourself to the edge of the rim, it'll pull you in. And the perception of depth, you can't perceive it. It's deeper than you can imagine. It's a feeling that once you expand again, like the cup of your consciousness, until it spreads so thin that it's beyond recognition. So that you become more porous and you can hold more of it. The less you think of you've got to have self-esteem, and you've got to not be a doormat, and you've got to have a healthy ego to keep yourself intact as you move through time space. Let me just clarify that first. But the more you can release the idea of what you think you are, the more the infinite can fill in with the truth of who you are, with more things for you to choose from. It's kind of like, when we were kids, the big thing was, it wasn't an iPad. It was like somebody got a 64 box of crayons.
Yeah.
Like you have 8, they have 64. And, if you're friends, they share. So you get, the infinite is trying to give you like 64 boxes, 64 colors to color your life from. So trade in your 8 for 64 and then some. Trade up. Give it up, Sometimes my meditations will start with my hands just like releasing. Like when I was talking about when music doesn't soothe me enough, that means it doesn't want me to participate and try to express it. Mm-hmm. So I'll stop. And then I offer all of it, all of my thoughts, all of it, total surrender at the edge of infinity, at the feet of Divine Mother. I just meditate, close my eyes, and I try not to do anything but focus on love for this thing that gave me this amazing experience. So invite more of it in. Women of power and grace, humans of power and grace. They go together like Kuan Yin, perfectly poised, graceful, loving, and compassionate, with a dragon at the right side, just in case. Right? Another way of saying that, a word to the wise is sufficient. If you can get what somebody's saying through the wisdom of your soul, you don't have to experience everything, right? We don't have to experience everything to know it. We can meditate and get, like if you read every book, you couldn't possibly read every book that's written, even in one library, impossible. Like by the end of your life, can't do it. But if you sit and meditate, you can intuit the cosmos and know it when you need to know it. It's like the universe likes to play with us on a need-to-know basis. Mm-hmm. It's like when you need the wisdom of this experience, you can be sure that you'll have it. And you'll be able to speak intelligently about anything, different languages, all kinds of things. People do this They just train their minds to open to the infinite and don't think it's just them. Another way of saying a word to the wise is sufficient was my best friend's mom used to say to her, those who don't listen have to feel. It's like, oh, like if I'm telling you don't do that, you're going to fall, or okay. I mean, I told you to stop 3 times. If you really want to fall off the chair, then go ahead. I mean, what am I going to do? I can't watch you all the time, or can I?
Yeah.
Like, do we all know that person that no matter, especially if you say don't do it, they'll do it immediately? Yeah, I was that person sometime, a little kid. Don't go in there. Just why? What's in there? I want to know. So, what do you really want? What do you really want to know? And my favorite affirmation on wisdom comes from Paramahansa Yogananda, and I invite you to. I'll say it once if you want to say it with me. It's really powerful. You can feel it reorder your cells, just kind of like sing. Thou art wisdom, and thou dost know. Which, thou art wisdom, and thou dost know. You're already recognizing I'm trading in my little head for all of it. The cause and end of all things. I am thy creation, and I want to know life's true mysteries, life's true joyous duties. The wisdom in me shall show all that thou dost know. That thou dost know. You want to say it? You don't have to. It's not like some secret code or something, but listen if you want to say it. Thou art wisdom and thou dost know. The cause and end of all things. I am thy creation. And I want to know life's true mysteries. Life's true joyous duties. The wisdom in me shall show all that thou dost know. That thou dost know. The wisdom in me, that means I'm a perfect reflection of the divine. The wisdom in me shall show. Once I clear, as the Sufis would say, polishing the nafs, once you clear the heart, the mirror of the heart, from all that we've accumulated over time, space, all the things we've hoarded in our hearts thinking that that's going to serve me sometime. Make your heart like a pass-through organization if you're a corporation. Let it come and go. Even if you say, till death do us part is a good one. You part on one plane of consciousness, but love is eternal. It never really goes away. But while we're here, we can have that love that is everlasting, the thing that will never leave you, the love that it continues to expand. It doesn't become small, and it doesn't build out a home inside of a house. Let's say it like that. It builds a home in the universe. Wherever you are, you're at home. You see? And it's the soul of you just pouring through more. It's like you become this perfect reflection. The wisdom in me, meaning it's already inherent in our nature. We are wise. Shall show all that thou dost know. So I become a perfect instrument, a conduit for this consciousness that would like very much to show up more in the world through me. So I'll get my little ideas out of the way. And sometimes my little ideas are dropped in from the infinite. You can tell the difference, right? It just has a different feeling. It vibrates differently. And then go into that thought. Just like go into it like with the passion of don't go in there.
Yeah.
Go into it like that. And charge it up. Turn the lights on. Get excited about it. And just watch how your energy of co-creation with the infinite, because you love it and trust it, it shows you more. Just like people. If we love and trust people, even in spite of the fact that they hurt us sometimes, if we don't give up on that love and that trust, you just keep getting more trustworthy experiences. But the thing that you trust the most will never leave you. And it's just showing you things. It's showing you how lovely you are and how compassionate you are. And, if you think of a time where something might have occurred in someone's life and nobody trusted them anymore, but they made one mistake, nobody, and you're the person that doesn't know anything about it. Say they move to a new city and they come and you just trust them with something little and they're just overwhelmed because no one trusts them anymore. But you're the one. That's all we need. Carl Rogers, conditional positive regard for others. We're all taking our knocks sometimes, but it's just to mold and shape us, like chiseled all my life according to thy design. Chink, sometimes big chunks come off and it hurts.
Yes.
But then you get those subtle little refinements, like when it's doing your hair. Like subtle, subtle, subtle. Like one strand of hair is a thought sometimes, just so soft. So be so clear that you notice any slight, there's a disturbance in the field.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that's coming in for you, trust it and go with it. Go with it. It's not an avoidance of, we try to avoid unpleasant experiences. Like we are here mostly for Sat Chitananda, God, dispelling darkness, the heart, and bliss. Sat Chitananda. So I used to run and go, Sat Chitananda, Sat Chitananda. And I feel all my cells saying it. So I felt like I was running with 1 trillion little people. Just like, get that you're a walking stadium of consciousness. Each one of your cells, any one of them could spark the rest of them. And if you can expand one, have you ever heard the idea of cellular expansion? That was a whole energetic healing thing, like to just expand your cells so that, even in when people are getting treatments for certain modalities of healing, you want to have hydrated cells in your body physically. And part of that is cellular communication. The fatter your cells are, they're hydrated. So it's good to not be dehydrated. It's what sends the signal when your cells touch, is what sends the signals through your body to heal a certain part. Like if you stub your toe, cellular expansion will send the wisdom of what your brain is thinking when cells touch each other. So when they come together like that, so this cellular expansion thing, one cell can ignite the whole of you. All you have to do is convince one of them, hey, we're having a good time. Yeah, we're having a good time. Or I'm not, and I really need to go home now. Yeah, we need to get ourselves out of here. But pay attention to yourself. Pay attention and check in. Do you ever go out with a friend who says, we're gonna get there, but we're gonna leave at 9:15? It's like, I didn't even get there yet. I don't even know what we're doing. What if it's a really good time? So leave a little opening for possibilities if you're gonna show up. But don't look so hard, but just be present, and you'll see a lot more energy and a lot more joy in the wisdom of yourselves. The wisdom knows the way. So allowing yourself that wisdom, that light, knowing when to use the dragon, knowing when to just be there perfectly poised, when to speak, when not to speak. Mostly wise people don't talk a whole lot. Most of the time they just kind of stand there, don't they? You just see them. Nobody's saying anything. You're all wise. It was a test and you passed.